Hi, it's LJ again here from G-Eye Jigs. We're here at Anglers for the Friday fishing report. So I've got Travis Long, Captain Travis Long with me, Schooled Up Fishing Charters.
Thank you.
And we're gonna jump into some freshwater first. So I'll speak towards the pickerel bite, which is picking up. You're gonna wanna get into the creeks and tributaries in the rivers, okay? You're gonna focus on structure, whether it's a boat dock or whether it's tree limbs in the water. And so a couple of my favorites to use this time of year are these rip stops. They're excellent baits. They got them in my favorite colors here at Anglers, so stop on in and get a couple while they last. Also, they're 20% off, so it's a good time to grab these.
I haven't caught a few pickerel on those.
Yeah,
so you know they're good. Yeah.
One of my favorite baits for pickerel, believe it or not, is a 16th ounce jig head, and you put on these small chartreuse grubs. And don't be shy with the Procure. Put some scent it up a little bit. And what you're gonna do is rig up the jig head onto the twister tail, and you're gonna cast it, right up on the shoreline or right up underneath that pier, or get it right next to that wood that's in the water. And you're gonna just simply lightly bounce it on the bottom and slowly reel it back into the boat. And
what I found too, what's nice about pickerel, sometimes when you get that strike with other fish, you may have messed up, they'll come back again.
They'll come back and get it.
They'll give you a second chance. They're pretty aggressive.
When they go for these grubs, they've got it. So another little trick to use, if you do have like a tree that fell in the water, that's great water there for any fish, whether it's crappie if they're in there at that time or not, or pickerel. But the bobber will keep you at that depth, so you're not going to get all up into those branches, and you're going to stand a better chance to survive. Another nice thing about these light jigs is that the hooks are soft. So if you do hook a branch or something, just pull on it hard enough, it's going to straighten out the hook, and just take your pliers and bend it back in. You're still going to be just fine with that 22, 24-inch pickerel.
Yeah, for those of you that have trolling motors on the boat, you have a nice advantage there.
Man,
I mean, either that or kayakers, you're getting in skinny water.
Kayakers are
sneaking in quiet, not throwing a wake on shore. All that helps.
Hey man, so you ran a few charters this week, and so I thought maybe we'd ask you to talk a little bit about what you were doing out there.
Well, I noticed it seems a week or two kind of behind, and I think that's mostly good for most of us. A lot of the action still in river mouths or anywhere where you have a strait, like down in Tangier Sound or water, it's kind of dumping out, bait fish are coming out. And birds have been leading the way, and if you get in an area where there is bird action, you pull up kind of drift, set up shop, and they're going to leave and they're going to scatter. Sometimes it's better to just stay there, and eventually your screen will light up with those fish. So that
midday bite, these fish, they're not boiling water and staying boiling. I've not found a pattern where right now anyway, where I can see that school of fish and see how they're moving down the bay or up the bay, and I can just intercept them, get out in front of them, and wait for them to come over the top of me. It's really not that. Are you finding any of that this year?
Not as much. There is sometimes when it warms up where I will see some come up high and swirl on the top. But mostly it's been suspended fish or down towards the bottom.
They're down.
And the larger fish are mixed in with smaller fish. But I've had a few schools come in where it is a larger grade, and everyone kind of hooks up with a quality fish. And quality right now to me is anything above 25. Just being real. I mean, there's a few 30s out there, but
there are.
It's a little bit different.
We've seen a few of those so far. You were talking about the swells on the water, like the breakers. That's what you're going to see with this, what we're calling breakers this time of year, is because you're not having boiling water, but you're going to see a swell, and they'll be right by your boat. And I've thrown top water at them, and they bounce it around like a ball, like it's a toy, but they won't take it.
If I see those swirls, that's when I like to have like a paddle tail and maybe like a 3/4 or a 1 ounce jig. Make a long cast away from the boat. Sometimes you hear people say long cast kind of pay it off. And you get that lure away from the boat, flip the bail, keep your line tight, let it drop. And on that drop, you'll usually get that better fish. You'll get that fish on the way down before it even hits the bottom.
What's been your favorite color lately, Travis?
Well, it's either been between hot chartreuse
or
the more natural smoky shad. That's what I've been kind of doing the best with. Other colors have worked. I'm not telling you that's the end and die all, but
I'll tell you what, man. This 3/4 ounce sand eel and this beer run has been a hot combo for me. For suspended fish, the ones that are up towards the surface. Now we know that the bigger ones are towards the bottom, like they're laying low, it's being low profile, laying down there.
100%.
So when you go out, I've been seeing a lot of birds, but they're all sitting, right? They're scattered. I mean, what's that tell you when you see a bunch of birds just sitting on the water looking bored? What does that tell you?
Either that's where the bite was or where it's going to be. Okay. So it's worth checking out that area.
Yeah.
You know, the seagualls don't roost on the water like you're getting it, so they're usually there for a reason.
Yeah.
I also looks like too the fish are moving more to that 20 to 50 foot depth. So if you have structures and ledges in area where you've seen bird activity, go ahead and try those out. Nice drifts over 60 to 40 foot ledges will produce, and structures in 40 to 50 feet, even 30. Yeah. I would start paying attention to those. If you have those in your arsenal.
Pay attention to those reefs that are out there. And when you say ledge, you're not talking about the steep drop off. You're talking about that gradual, I'm assuming.
Yeah, gradual 60 to 30 foot is what I want right now.
They're hanging out in there.
On the ledges, and I like to go from...
You're just going to set yourself up to drift.
Drift across.
Drift across. So you're going to drift. Try to set your boat up so that you drift maybe from shallow to deep or from deep to shallow.
Or deep to shallow, depending on the wind.
Yeah.
And one thing I've really figured out lately is sometimes, for whatever reason, these heavier metals going down to the bottom, they're on the bunker. Sometimes they beat the plastic sometimes. I don't know why. I know some people are, rolling over watching this right now, hearing me say it, but there's times when I watched it happen, and when it works, it's right.
Yeah. Depending on the angler too. I mean, you don't have to give much action to that lure, right? You just drop it right off the side of the boat. You don't have to cast it, so you can give this to like your cousin that came into town and wanted to go fishing today with you. Right?
It's a great lure for someone who's starting out in the game. They can feel, detect the bottom.
Right, and they're very effective lures, no question about that. So when we see those birds, they're all sitting around, they're spread out. From what I'm seeing on my fish finder, my Simrad, is that I'm seeing spots. And it seems like the rockfish are doing the same thing that the birds are doing up on the surface. They're all spread out. They're laying on the bottom, on their bellies. Like they're not being active.
No.
All right, so when is the best time of day to catch right now out in the bay, the main stem of the bay?
I like tide changes. So the first hour of a current change. So I'll look on my Navionics app, and I look for current. So anytime you're at the bottom, the end or the beginning.
Came off slack tide.
Yeah.
Right.
End or beginning. Right. So if I know there's a structure somewhere on my path that I can get there for like a start of an incoming tide,
absolutely, yeah,
I'd want to be there.
Absolutely.
And then other than that, I'm looking for those birds. So the morning bite has still been pretty good because the water's been warm.
First light, right?
And then last light.
Last light.
That's been nice. And then tide changes.
I've experienced the same thing. First light, last light.
But you know what people say? The best time to go fishing is whenever you can. But if you're out there,
well, you know what I say? You don't have to be out there all day. You just have to be out there at the right time, especially when it's cold, right? Well, so if you were to go out on a fishing trip this weekend, okay, and you can't get out, but when you can get out, so you're in the middle of the day, but definitely, like you said, locate life, which is going to be birds just sitting on the water being bored. Try to find that life that's close to a channel edge, right? And be patient. Set up a drift, and even though you're not marking anything, because you're probably not going to be, just fish. Put your Pro-Cure Super Gel on your lures, whether you got the bunker spoon or your plastics. Get it close to the bottom, and you don't have to give it this real heavy action, do you? I mean, I'm just like bottom fishing. Yeah, that's a good term for it. A slow roll. Just pick that tip up and just kind of work it along the bottom, and then keep your eyes open because you never know those birds could pick up somewhere.
A tip for people running down south who haven't gone down there a lot. In our area up north, we tend to look for the larger birds, larger fish. But down south, sometimes the smaller birds and terns are on quality fish, so you cannot discount them like you can up here. You can blow right past them, but down south you got to pay those birds a little more respect sometimes.
When you were down there, were you seeing tiny rain minnows, or were you seeing some of the larger?
I did not see a lot of bait, but the fish that I filleted all had 3 or 4 large bunker in them.
Bunker,
yeah.
So
the bunker was there, and the birds were you saw a few birds fighting over bunkers. So
Yeah.
there definitely was a bunker bite.
Yeah.
It just wasn't flying out of the water.
Yeah.
Or,
Right. So
they
basically,
were down deeper.
those rockfish, they're eating the bunker, but don't ignore the fact that there were rain minnows in
Yeah.
that area, because the turn's probably on them, but that's life. That's the life that you're looking for.
And, you
Get
know,
to it.
not to, get everyone worked up, but there's some gannets down there too.
Yeah.
So it's going
Right.
to start popping off
Right.
pretty soon.
Has anybody been having any special catches lately that you know of?
Yeah, one of our buddies who came in today, he had a 31-inch drum
Yeah. Yeah. And,
mixed in, and
and he was fishing our water.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He got
a little
another
bit
drum
farther
mixed
south
in.
towards Solomon.
Just mixed in with the rockfish. So it's not really something you can target.
No,
But
but they're here, which
they're
is
here.
really good news for the bay, in my opinion, because we've been waiting for this red drum population to start really picking up to its normal levels, because the bay used to have a lot of red drum in it, along with sea trout, big bluefish, and we used to have but we're starting to make a rebound. So
Just have the right gear.
since we're talking stuff that's not normal, so we do still have black sea bass here in the bay right now.
Yeah, a lot
Like-
of them, especially
like-
on the structures we just talked about.
Right. So if you can find those reefs and things, hard bottom, you're probably going to be looking at 30 feet of water. I think right now the black sea bass have moved
30
into a
or
little
more.
bit deeper.
Yeah.
They're not in the 17, 19 feet of water anymore. This hot pink is the deal.
I was getting them in 50 last week too. So.
Yeah, yeah. So regardless if you're out at the beach or running out of Point Lookout or Solomon's Island, there's plenty of other action that you can go out there and get on some black sea bass. I haven't caught a keeper yet.
No, but this will put a smile on your face.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They might be small, but they still are fun, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. One last thing about this hot pink is tip it with a piece of squid. Put a piece of, I use the whole squid. I like them, and I cut them up myself. And I'll just tip a piece of it on there and drop it down.
It's the way to go.
And then when you fish it, it's almost like you're bottom fishing. I just simply lift the rain minnow up and find the bottom, and lift it up and find the bottom.
Those jokers are pretty aggressive. No.
If you go farther south, I think around, the target ship and stuff like that, you probably can find some flounder laying in there somewhere.
Yeah, I would
not
think so.
surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll find a keeper, but
Right.
it'll be close.
We had so many small flounder this year. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it might be good next year.
Something about that hot pink, I just love it. All right, I think we grabbed it all there for everyone. So I think with the information that we shared today, you can certainly know what to expect when you go out on the water. Look for it. Go find that life, and just make yourselves set up those drifts, right?
I guess I'd be remiss not to add, we did have some people come in and talk to us today. And for those of you who have to fish north of the bridge because your boat's at a dock or whatever, people are still catching, it seems like, in the spots that you would catch in October. So people still are catching on structures, in like 20 to 30 feet and deeper of water. So you don't have to, abandon fishing if you're above the bridge.
Not
now,
at all.
So.
You can still fish at home if you're up north in the bridge.
We just haven't done it personally. So,
Right, yeah, so we can only speak to what we've been doing. So. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and stop in at Anglers and grab some of this tackle while they got it all on sale. We got 20% off on many of the lures today, and it's going to go on through the weekend, so take advantage of it.
A lot of vendors are in here tomorrow. A lot of knowledge
absolutely.
they'll share with you.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Be here with my son Brandon and his wife. They make a lot of these lures. You'll be here. We're going to have Coach here. We're going to have Bustin' Bates here. Bill Montgomery.
Here from BKD,
Yep. It's going to be a good time. They're going to have a food truck,
Yeah.
a beer tasting, and what is it, a whiskey tasting?
And everything's in the stores on discount, so a lot of free giveaways.
Yeah, it's pretty good deals this weekend. All right, thanks for watching, and have a great
And it's a
week.
blowout, so
Yeah.
too windy.
Thanks again.